Onyx made a post very recently talking about how 2026 is almost here, and they're talking about how they're gearing up for 2026. Nothing I say is financial advice. However, I think this is more so related to the fundamentals as opposed to the price. But I do want to talk about that first when it comes to the price, because as of right now, XCN, even though 25 cents is still on my mind, it's around 60 times lower than that. Not to mention, the market cap when it comes to XCN is over 5 times lower currently than where it was back at January of this year. And not to mention, the market cap of XCN as of right now is so low to the point that it's actually at a point that I have not seen ever since January of this year, before we saw that rally when it comes to later on in January of 2025. This all may sound like not such a good thing. I'm totally aware of that. But the thing is, we have to consider what Onyx has done in 2025. The testnet launch when it comes to their layer 1 blockchain, not to mention we saw Onyx AI Agent V2. These things that Onyx has done, I think, in 2025 is arguably the most impressive I think it's ever done throughout the existence of the project overall. But the thing is, the market cap is lower than before. So if something became lower, but the fundamentals became better, this is not sort of the ingredients for me to just randomly give up. I am not telling anyone to do anything, but my thing is this. For all my projects, I am dollar cost averaging once a month. That's it. But my purpose to dollar cost average is not only to just dollar cost average when things are like, at such a high level. Why would that be my intent? If something fundamentally improved, but in terms of the charts, it became way lower, am I going to be complaining if I'm trying to dollar cost average? That's not a situation that I would be doing that. It's like, for instance, in a totally different example that is not related to this, if let's say, for instance, I am a big fan of this mouse, right? This is a mouse that I have. And if let's say it's at a certain value, I liked it, suddenly there was a discount. But let's say the mouse fundamentally improved. Am I going to be complaining about that? I don't think I would, because in real life, right? I'm not saying in this space. If I go to Walmart, I go to Costco, I like discounts. But in this space, sometimes the mindset feels a little bit in the other direction where it doesn't feel like that, right? Because sometimes when I see a project down, the automatic mindset sometimes is not, oh, wow, things are down. No, it's more so like, wow, the project became bad. But at a mall, at a store or something like that, if I see a discount, I don't think the product became bad. If anything, I'd be like, oh, wow, really? My interest would be more in that case. But then in this space, it seems to be a little bit in the opposite direction. Why is that? I have no idea, but I don't have that sort of mindset. So when I take a look at something hypothetically being lower but fundamentally improved, I'm not going to give up. This is my perspective. Even though this is, again, my perspective. It's kind of like my diary, right, on what I'm doing, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything. And my perspective is that had an altcoin season happened earlier, let's say it happened sometime around 2025 in a make-believe scenario, I think the ceiling when it comes to XCN could have been a little bit limited just because it hadn't developed yet fundamentally as much as it had right now. So if there was actually an altcoin season moving forward, I feel like now the fundamentals are a little bit better equipped to handle something like that as opposed to before, because before the project did not have the developments it has as of right now. And especially in Q1 of 2026, they're planning to launch the mainnet of their layer 1 blockchain. So that, I think, really further sets the fundamentals in place when it comes to Onyx. When it comes to Cardano, I think one of the things that it had going on for it was for quite a while, we didn't really see much attention when it comes to it, right? But then it was constantly building, and then it kind of laid down the groundwork, sort of the foundation for what the project is. It kind of made the layer 1 blockchain solid, right? So then eventually when that 2021 type of altcoin season occurred, Cardano at that point was just in a much better position than some of its competitors that did not develop throughout those times, that did not sort of do anything. So sometimes a prolonged sort of wait time could be sort of hypothetically a good thing for some projects out there that use it towards their favor, right? In terms of actually building and developing instead of just waiting and not doing anything. So some projects out there that use that time to their sort of advantage, we've seen it sometimes showcase what it could do during an altcoin season, because sometimes the foundation, the fundamentals, it showcases it later on. But first it needs to be built. So when it comes to something like Onyx, I like how they're using the time to actually develop their project instead of just waiting and not doing anything. A lot of other projects, they're waiting, not doing anything, but this one seems to actually be doing something. It's like, for instance, if I have a year before the next marathon, I could just wait and train maybe 3 months before the marathon starts, or I could begin training right now, right? So then when later there is that time to run the marathon, I'll be better equipped to handle that. So I like what I'm seeing when it comes to Onyx. They're at least still doing something. Why would I only want to dollar cost average into something when things are just all the way up here? I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me. But just to summarize this video, first of all, I like what Onyx has achieved in 2025, and a prolonged sort of cycle, a longer wait time to wait for a hypothetical altcoin season. I think at the end of the day, some people may argue that that could have been a blessing in disguise for some projects because it allowed them to actually develop. If I take a look at 25 cents market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, it'd be around 9 billion. I just saw that not too long ago when it comes to XLM. And that was not even XLM during an altcoin season at all. That was just XLM not really doing much, and then the market cap was like that not too long ago. So if there was an altcoin season, this would have a hard time achieving what XLM did, not even during an altcoin season. And granted, let's say there is even an altcoin season for something like this. Does it seem that difficult? I don't know. I guess it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't seem that difficult, I suppose. We'll see what happens. However, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day.